All right, we're preparing to go live, or we are. It's surely live in case it's already live where you are. Um, I'm watching the thingy. There we go. Excellent. All right, awesome. There we go. We're live now. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm excited to be coming to you on the YouTube airwaves today to just chat. Really. I want to. I think I need to show up more on this platform. We typically create content and post, but never really, came to do a live interaction with the public on YouTube. So I'm excited to be doing this, and I'm streaming through Zoom to YouTube. So I might not see any interactions, any comments, or please do leave comments and all of that good stuff. And I promise we will attend to all of them. But today I want to talk about just introduction to database administration. Database administration is my bread and butter. For people who are looking to get into tech, there are many options out there for you, right? There are several options. There are some very popular ones now: data analysis, cybersecurity. There's a whole bunch of them. Um, CRA, some people that would want to go the non-technical, maybe leadership, more leadership route are going like Agile, Scrum. So those are all viable options. And so I'm just adding or presenting an additional one. Not necessarily saying those other ones are bad, but there's a reason why this is my preference. If you haven't met me before, my name is Nnamdi Henach, and I'm the founder and also the lead faculty at Enstar Technologies. Um, Enstar Technologies is a career training institution based out in the Atlanta area, but we have students from across the country. And basically, we help job seekers, low income earners transition into higher paying careers in tech by equipping them with skills in this high income areas like database administration, Scrum, and a whole bunch of others. And so that's what I'm blessed to do. And today I just want to just come chat with us a little bit about database administration and why it's an excellent career path. Um, been doing I've been doing, database administration for the last 12 years. I've been in tech for 19 years now, since 2005. That was my first internship, doing system administration and all of that. So been in tech a while. And but the last 12 years, I have purely been focused on database administration and, mostly in the SQL Server space, worked on other platforms, but mostly in the SQL Server space. So I'm going to speak to you from that aspect. And then in terms of training, the last 6 years, we've been working, we've founded Enstar Technologies. For the last 6 years, we've been actively training and helping people get into, different careers in tech. So I've wrapped up some experience both as a faculty member, but also as a professional myself. All right. And so if you are interested in getting into tech, and you don't have any prior tech experience, then this will serve you. If you are, you're already in tech, maybe you're working those lower tier tech jobs, and you're looking to elevate, maybe make more money, then this will also benefit you because I'm going to show you another opportunity, basically. And then if you're looking to just make six figures, but you're without working two, three jobs and earning hours, just stretching yourself to the max. Then there's a possibility this will benefit you as well. You just believe you deserve better. You want to do work that is meaningful. Um, you want to get into a space where you do meaningful work. Then definitely keep listening. This will serve you. So, like I said today, I want to talk about introduction to database administration. Um, and let me see. Maybe I will share my screen. Maybe that will help. Um, if I can find the Zoom thingy. And forgive me if I look a little wonky. I have been fighting off some kind of infection or something the last couple of days. So when I said I have made this commitment and I am going to show up for it. All right, so let's see. Let me present. All right. Now that we have that going, let me. All right. So I hope you can see my screen on the stream. If that makes sense. It sounds dope. All right. So introduction to database administration. So what I intend to do today is really break down the core concepts, help you understand what the role of a database administrator is. Make sure that is everybody listening and watching me today is clear on that. Gain insights into what we do, right? So now you can at least make informed decisions on whether this is for you or not. Um, I want to show you the promising, the opportunities here. The job market has been crazy the last couple of years. It's been up and down, especially in tech landscape. Last year with the threat of with the threat of a recession, and this year being an election year, there's just so many weird things going on. But there's a reason why this field stands the test of time. Um, and we'll look at what do you need to start. What do you need to get going in this field? So the necessary skills, the qualifications, practical steps to go from, beginner to DBA, basically. Right now, why database administration? Again, it's one of the more sought after tech professional skills. Every business relies on data, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But another part of the job that I really like, or this dimension of work I really enjoy, is we get to do purposeful work, like meaningful work. So the work we do actually matters. You can see the impact of the work you're doing, right? That's powerful. And so you get to do meaningful work. You can earn in six figures, possibly multiple six figures, in remote situations. I have my reservations about multiple gigs because you might not be able to properly, effectively do that. But it's possible people do it. You get to work from home for the most part. There's a lot of hybrid options, but you can, um, a lot of remote jobs still exist. A lot of managers will work with you to kind of just show up on demand, basically. And then if you're looking for a field where you can have a long and successful career, then this is a field for you. You get to live out your dreams. All right, so with that said, let's jump into the good stuff. What is a database? What is a database? When we talk about database administration, the first word in that phrase is data or database, right? Database is data, two words, data and then base. A base is like a location where things live or stay, like a base, military base. That's military people stay there. So a database is somewhere where data lives. Anywhere we store information is a database. Anywhere we store data is a database. That's simple. And people always ask this question, and I get very interesting responses and complicated. People try to get technical on me when I bring up what is a database, and it's all the fancy things and technology, but in the end, the primary definition is wherever you store information, that's a database. So whether it's in a computer where you store important files, your phone where you have pictures and memories and things like that. If you store information in it, it's a database. Your mind, your brain, these are all databases. So now that we've defined, a database, what a database is, who is a database administrator? Who is a DBA? Again, let's go back to what I said before. Every business, regardless of the industry niche, whatever they do, they are all driven and dependent on data. Data is at the core of business decision making, right? Most businesses need or depend on data available to them to make informed decisions on their products, on their customers, right? On who they serve, on marketing, on just all of the decisions they make on a regular are data-driven decisions, right? So regardless of what industry or what the business is about, data is at the core of that establishment, and for it staying open and functioning, it is data dependent. Right, this is so critical to understand. Take a medical facility, for example, right? While the primary service they offer is healthcare and you know making sure people who are sick are receive treatments and get better, they are dependent on data, right? And so that's why you see this question-based diagnosis. You go to a doctor's place and they ask you, what are your symptoms? Does anybody in your family have this? Have you traveled outside of the country in the last 21 days? They ask you all these questions and they are feeding it into a system, into an electronic medical platform, right? And when your symptom is fed into the system, guess what? It now shows based on the data like this, based on your symptoms, these are the likely situations you're dealing with, or these are the possible next steps which should be taken, right? So yes, doctors are super smart and they know what they're doing and they can interpret the output, but they are still reliant on data sources at the back end in front of their software to make sure they're taking their consistent in their treatment plans and how they take care of patients in front of them, right? That's the power of a database, right? And I can give examples on whether you're talking retail or finance, different industries and how they're dependent on data. Imagine what will happen without electronic medical records, right? You go from hospital to hospital and they can see your medical history. They can go back and see medications you're taking and where you are with things, and they're able to make better and more informed decisions when it comes to your health. So it is a data dependent system, a data dependent industrial organization. So there is a major dependence on data in our world today, right? And so what that does is it creates a need for people who have skills managing data, administering data, right? You are, as a database administrator, you are proficient in a platform or a software, right? A software we choose to we call them database management systems. You see people say database platforms, however they choose to describe it. A database administrator is proficient in one of those platforms and they use their proficiency. And based on that, they are using their proficiency to help businesses manage what's most important to them, their data, right? They make sure people have access to the information they need. When they need it, make sure data is safe, it's properly protected in case of a disaster. It's, all of that good stuff. The right people have access to the right information. All of these are core responsibilities when it comes to administering data. So that's who a database administrator is. Now, I mentioned a database administrator is proficient in a particular platform called the database management systems. And I have a few examples here. There's, again, the list is not exhaustive. This is not an exhaustive list. But we wanted to show you, you might be familiar with some of these, you might not be familiar with all of these, right? Oracle, Microsoft SQL. Again, pardon me, I'm struggling a little bit today because I'm not very well, but I'll push through. I'll do okay. All right, so Oracle, Microsoft SQL, MySQL, Postgres SQL, IBM, DBC, DB2, right? You see, if you go out right now, go on Google right now and search for Microsoft SQL Server DBA jobs, right? Or DB2 jobs. That'll kind of give you an idea, gives you a quick idea of the opportunities available in this realm, and what the requirements for those kind of jobs are. So this is not an exhaustive list. There's way more platforms. There's other ones that I don't even have listed here. Let's talk about the demand and the opportunity. Why is it a good career path? Right, like I said, the demand is high because every business is dependent on their data. According to the Department of Labor, there's an expectation that this field is going to continue to grow, right? That's 10,000 new jobs every year, not counting the carryover ones. That's incredible. For anybody looking to get into a field where there's demand, that's an excellent career path, to consider. You just need to distinguish yourself and be for one of the 10,000 jobs. I always tell my students, there's not 10,000 people who are smarter than you are doing this. And again, this is new jobs, not even, firing and hiring and all of that. People always ask questions around, and I'll probably do a workshop and training on this one very soon. People worry about, artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact jobs. And that's a valid concern, but even AI in its greatness and glory, how do you think it's able to give you those results back when you send in the prompts, right? When you train your AI to sound like you and generate emails like yourself, you feed random prompts and then it gives you output. Where is it getting that from? A database. So even AI itself is drawing and it's feeding from off of data. So that means there is somebody behind the scenes who is ensuring that that data is up to date, who is ensuring that the information is it's accurate, it's interpreting prompts correctly, and providing the right output. So even with artificial intelligence and where it's going, there's still a dependence on data, right? So there's not AI is not going to make what we do obsolete. It's only going to help us get better. And people are already doing and leveraging AI to write excellent code and troubleshoot scripts and do those, different cool things. So AI is a blessing. Now, in terms of where opportunities are, you can work everywhere. Right? Like I said, every business is dependent on data. So it's not industry specific, really. There's as long as they are using data, which they all do, then you need database administrators. In terms of income here in the US, the average median salary is 101,000. If you go into the Department of Labor website, you can get more details on that. So when we call this a six-figure career, that's actually the national average. Um, People are doing, significantly more, 120, 130, 150. And then if you do hourly rates, they are going, upwards of 55 to up to $90 per hour, even more than that, which significantly cuts into the high, six figure, like, well, not high six figure, high hundreds. So um, that's as much that this is not going to get you rich. You're not going to become a millionaire by being a DBA. It can be the foundation if you have business ideas and things you want to invest in. This can be the foundation that gets you your capital to go. But I'm not selling you this is going to make you a millionaire. No, that's not my game plan. And again, I put just screenshot from the Department of Labor website to verify the information I've sent you. You can look this up for yourself. Look at Glassdoor, check out other credible sources for employment information to see, what the prospects are in this field, and do it for every other field that you're looking to, explore. I put out this page to just kind of tell a better story of we're not just making up. I'm not just telling stories about where and how diverse the places you can work are. This is where some people who have gone through our programs, places where they work, right? Conduents, Aviation, GE, Aviation, Morgan Stanley, Signal, Coca-Cola, Coke Financial, and it's financial services, hospitals, it's credit bureaus, it's retail, right? So every industry needs a database manager, a database engineer, a database administrator. In terms of, what we do, there's a whole lot of responsibilities, right? Again, I'm introducing my goal today. I want to emphasize that it is really to make sure you understand what database administration is about. I think we've dealt with that, what and who a database administrator is and what exactly it is they do. So if this is a career path you're considering, you have a clear understanding of um, what to expect going in. A lot of people just like how much they get paid, what are the prospects. But you're going to do this every day for a season of your life. You might as well understand what you're getting into, and be adequately prepared and see if it's what you really enjoy. Right. So I'm going to go through some of our responsibilities. The first one I have here is database design and architecture. Right. Think about, you know, you're building, you need to build a house, and you call an architect and you give them a design, right? You give them an arbitrary, like, this is what I'm looking for with this house. This is my vision for this dream house. This is how many rooms I'm looking at. This is, you know, bedrooms, where they're located, amenities, all of that good stuff. And so you share your dreams. You're gonna have a six-bedroom. It's going to have a basketball court. It's going to have a pool. It's going to have a garden. It's going to, just you give your specifications um, to the architect, and the architect is able to take your abstract, specifications and create a logical design, trying to replicate concepts in your mind, right? And gives you, like, this is what you've asked for. And you can look at that and say, oh, well, I didn't see like that. Can you change this or can you take this out? That's the first part of our job. Again, it's as a database administrator, you get to wear that architecture hat when businesses are trying to build out new solutions, whether it's an application, whether it's systems. They look to you to be that expert who is going to let them know, okay, these are the things we need to make it happen. This is what the structure will look like. This is the logical design of how our infrastructure will be laid out, right? So those are some of the architectural hats you'll be wearing as a database administrator. Now, you're not going to start your first DBA job at this level, right? This is, to me, the highest tier when it comes to database administration. It is that design and architecture tier. The next one is, setting up and configuring the database. So and this involves just doing your installations, configuring your databases for optimal performance, making sure that all of the components of function properly. There's a lot of moving parts when you do installation, when you implement your new tools and software. There's moving parts to make sure things function optimally. And you as the DBA is the one to ensure you put those things in place to make sure it's conforming to organizational policy and objectives, but also make sure that your data is safe. Those core objectives of for us, in terms of data security, accessibility, availability of data, disaster recovery, all of those things, you are responsible for implementing those once the server is built, once your database, installation is done. So this is a very big part of what we do is all of those post-installation configuration, right? We install and then we configure. There's a term we use, hardening, and that's just putting specific configurations in place around your database server to ensure that it's impenetrable, basically, right? To attacks, to any malicious intent and all of that good stuff. So you're the guy that does all of that. Now, if you're wondering how will I know what to do, two things, right? One, before you go, you're not going to go apply for a job without training or without any prior knowledge, right? You need some level of knowledge before you go for this. But secondly, most companies will have policies and documentation in place on even how to approach all these things. So those are the guides you will follow when the time comes. So you're not going to fly blind going into any organization. All right, the next DBA responsibility is monitoring and performance improvement, right? That means you're constantly monitoring your database system, you're analyzing performance metrics, you're identifying, any bottlenecks. This is a very key part of our work is I should be able to answer the what is going on, what happened, and how do we resolve it questions, right? You're constantly able to answer the what happened and what's happening questions, and you're not just monitoring, but also proactively putting measures in place to resolve potential issues, uh, and you're taking corrective measures. You see most roles will fall under this production support. Support really means break fix, right? It breaks, investigate, fix, right? So a lot of DBA jobs fall under the production support category. So you're not doing too much of the configuration or building out. You're walking into a space where it's already been built. And now you're going in and you are making sure that the infrastructure is standing, basically, that it's functioning the way it should. All right, next, backup and ensuring, prompt recovery. Backup, just again, we'll talk about disaster recovery. You're making copies of your database because we cannot afford to lose data. This is one of the capital and cardinal sins we cannot be responsible for, right? In our database engineering work, is we have to ensure this is the first thing the DBA always looks for anytime they go anywhere. Is do we have backups in place? What is our backup schedule? What is our backup strategy? Right? You want to know those information, and if it doesn't exist, it's a ticking time bomb environment that you're in, and you want to fix that promptly. I tell my students the story. I was hired into a job, and prior to them hiring me, they had a different set of technical experts. I'm not going to call their name so I don't upset a group of people. But those who are the ones managing their data before they hired a database administrator. And so not everybody is thinking about the database and support the way we do. We are conscious of data loss is a cardinal sin. We can't afford to lose data. And so in my normal, typical DBA habits, like, hey, what's our backup plan or backup strategy? And there was none. And so I told my boss then, like, hey, we need we need to have this in place ASAP. If not, we will be in trouble. Now, he gave me resources, sent, based on my recommendations, the small analysis I could um, muster based on the environment and what they had, did some calculations, they did besides. I made recommendations and they provisioned some servers for me to do with storage space to do my backups. So I set up the backup infrastructure, about the backup strategy, scheduled all of it and then automated it. The fun part is like a week later, there was a major outage within the organization. Never had issues before. Now they had an issue, major outage, and my backups became how we came back from um, that is situation. So I said that to say it's a key part of what we do is ensuring that we have backups and we can use our backups to recover as needed. The next one is managing access and security. This is a big one because again, it's not just people think about security and they think about breaking into or accessing, your things you shouldn't be getting into, right? Maliciously compromising somebody's phones or computer, hacking into their systems. Like people always associate hacking and higher tier, maybe because of the movies and all, there's always some high level fraudulent person from a foreign country trying to break into maybe a bank or do some fraudulent behavior, all that good stuff. Um, and those fall under security. Those are accurate. However, for us in the database realm, we are thinking about it more from an access and who has access to what perspective, right? What level of access? We want to make sure it's role-based access. So based on what you do, that determines the level of access you get, right? Even though we are both legitimate users or legitimate, we are both authorized users within this database environment, um, the access you have is dependent on what your role is within the organization. So we are responsible for regulating those type of things, right? When people are trying to do things or get access to certain spaces, we serve as the gatekeepers to ensure that, hey, no, you're not supposed. These are the steps you need to take to get that level of access, or this is what we will do in this situation. This is the part of our job where we get to not be nice. So managing access and security is a key part of the DBA experience. Next one is maintaining and upgrading the database. Just as like we do for the build, we have to do regular maintenance, whether it's installing updates or we call installing updates patching. Applying patches, managing things like backups, follow up maintenance categories. There's indexes for performance speed, for report speed, making sure index are properly maintained. Or you need to do upgrades to newer software, newer platforms, newer hardware, newer versions of your database platform. Those fall under our jurisdiction. Next one is compliance. Compliance with regulations and data governance. This is also huge. We are, again, like I said, we're the police, we're the gatekeepers for this, how data is being used. Because again, you don't want the business to be fined. If you're an organization that gets audited, quite a bit, right? If you work in financial services, if you work in healthcare, healthcare, you have to be familiar with like HIPAA and those kind of things, right? HIPAA compliance. You work with financial services, you have to be, familiar with, Sarbanes-Oxley and those. So not just being familiar with, but being able to ensure that from a database perspective, we are functioning in the ways to adhere to those policies and standards. So SOX compliance, HIPAA, and all the other, there's a bunch of other ones that are industry specific. You are the one who will put measures in place to ensure that our processes align with or adhere to these compliance things that are required in our industry. Because again, you don't want your department, your team, your side of the business to be costing the company in fines and any auditors come and then find you guys are failing in one area and then they hit the company with a fine. You don't want that to be on your watch. Next one is support and assistance. And again, I talked about support. Um, it's a key part of it. It breaks, we investigate, we fix. That's us, right? When you're on call, this is all you're doing. You're looking at your monitoring tools. You're looking at you're looking at how activity and you're making sure things are working the way they should, right? So support, and then when people have issues, when they need assistance, you're the go-to person, right? Um, so yeah, that's how support and assistance is a key part of our work. Collaboration is big, huge. Collaborating with teams and stakeholders is a big aspect of our work, right? So again, we most of the time we never work in isolation, right? The reason why you have people know a web designer, a programmer before they know a database admin. They can tell you what some of these other tech roles do, but they can't clearly specify what a database engineer does. Reason is those ones are more front facing, but we are mostly working from the back end. So there's other application layers that we have to interact with, right? If you're supporting a database that is application based, that means you're working with the application owners. Your database has to live on a server, so you have to work with server engineers, network engineers. Um, there's product owners on the project side, right? There's architects and software. And so we get to collaborate and work with different departments, different other entities, right? We get to collaborate. And so one of the key big skills I always teach when I talk about non-technical skills you need to have is, being able to be a team player, being able to work effectively with other, play effectively with other people, other teams, is a super skill. So this is a key part of our job. We are back end. In fact, what we do is dependent on a lot of these other places. The front end of the application has to feed us the data or has to feed the data to the database, right? So there has to be some connection and communication between us and those guys, right? The network is not set up properly or not working, transactions are not happening, right? So you see why we need to work with network engineers. If the server is down, we run out of space in storage, somebody needs to fix that. We need good relationships with the storage guys and the server guys. So if you work in an environment where it's virtual, you need to deal with the VMware or Hyper-V, the virtual machine people. So there's different relationships that we get to have um, as database engineers, database administrators, and so collaboration is a key part of our work. Now, quickly, I want to go through how do I get started? How do I begin? Let's talk about some of the requirements, right? Um, And there are myths around you need to have a bachelor's or a master's. Are those great? Yes. Are those nice to have? Yes. But they are not must-haves, right? You don't need a degree in computer science already. Like you can have a bachelor's from anywhere. Um, does it help to have a degree in a related field? Yes. But it's not a requirement. I've been part of several interviews, and I've also been both as the interviewer and the candidate. And I can tell you, it's never come up what my degree was. And yes, I do have all of the technical degrees in computer science, my master's in computer science, and then I have a bachelor's in computer engineering. Still it hasn't helped me get a job because it never comes up in a conversation, right? Or even a degree, do you need a college degree? It's not a requirement. Your high school diploma is your minimum requirement. Now, when you're starting from the, bottom, more effort might need to be put in to shine, to make yourself stand out in a crowded marketplace. But it's not going to stop you from getting a job. Next one is you need to be proficient in one of the technologies, one of the platforms, right? There's no generalist DBA. I know in medicine there's like general practitioners and stuff like that. We don't have any general practitioners. We don't have any general engineers. You have to be proficient. Now, can you be proficient in multiple platforms? Yes. Can you know a little bit of multiple? Yes. But you're not going to, there's no general DBA, just everybody can go in and work, no, right? A lot of the concepts across different platforms are very similar. They have their unique differences, but for the most part, knowledge of one helps, it makes it easy for you to learn the other one because the concepts are very, very close. But you need to pick a part. My recommended part, SQL, because that's what I do, that's what I teach. But also there are bonus opportunities there. most people already have the core foundation when it comes to skill sets, right? Because Microsoft is a household platform. Most PCs are, Windows based and all of that. So it's an easier transition because your learning curve is not as steep. Um, and then the next thing I have here is experience, is superior certification. And I think the better thing to put there is proficiency is superior certification. Being able to demonstrate proficiency is more important than showing certifications. Are certifications good? Yes. But again, going back to all of my experiences with doing interviews as a candidate and the interviewers, it's never come up what certifications you have. Reason is certifications are designed to keep you on top of what's new within the technology. They are not necessarily a way for you to acquire the skills to break in. So if at this stage where you are, you're looking to get in, certifications are not the priority. It's being able to speak to an interviewer and convince them that you know what you're talking about. You need to be able to have a conversation with somebody who has done this for 10 years and make them believe that you understand the core concept and you can come in and bring value right away. Right. And how do I build proficiency? Through lab hours, right? Through putting in work and practicing your personal labs, you're practicing every chance you get. That's how it works. And that's something you can do, you control. Um, in terms of, do I need to be a computer guru? Do I need to do crazy things? Basic computer skills, basic computer proficiencies, right? If you can navigate your computer comfortably, you should be fine in terms of your ability to do this job from a skill set requirement. Steps to land the DBA job. First one, gain the skills, right? Go learn SQL, go learn Oracle, go learn MySQL, go learn something, right? Go build your technical proficiency. Start from there. That's the first step. If you don't have the technical proficiency, there is a zero chance. Well, except you know somebody inside or you're connected. But fair and square, zero chances for you. So build your proficiency first. Start from there. Also develop your non-technical skills, right? Again, a lot of people have the technical skills, but they can't navigate a conversation, right? They can't demonstrate they're awkward in interviews. They can't communicate. Their email skills are terrible, right? Those things will cost you opportunity, and those things are they're so relevant or important because you're going to be in meetings. You're going to need to give updates. You're going to might even lead meetings, facilitate collaborations, those type of things. As you grow in your career, you're going to be doing a lot of non-technical stuff, and so beginning to hone those skills will help you stand out in your interviews, but ultimately help you be very successful on the job. Um, how do I equip myself for a career as a database administrator? The first one, you can go back to school, right? This wasn't the case 10 years ago or so. Now we do have programs that are built specifically to tailor specifically to database administrators, right? To database administration, database related skills. It wasn't the case before. So you can go back to school, you can get a degree, maybe computer science with a concentration in, the SQL or Oracle. Like those that you can do that now. That's an option. Like I said before, certifications are not they have a different objective in my mind, but they are a valid part in terms of equipping yourselves. It at least teaches you what's going on within the realm of the technology you're interested in. So certifications are helpful. The other way to equip yourself is through online courses, and online courses and boot camps, which are just intensive training programs focused on getting practical skills and job preparation. And then the career training programs, which is like boot camps, but with focus on you getting a job. That's a part. So that's kind of like what we do at Insta Technologies. Not kind of like that's exactly what we do. We offer career training programs. We don't call ourselves a boot camp. Our programs are built and tailored towards ensuring that you're able to go from classroom to the workplace, have a seamless transition, and go on and do well. Um, so some of the pathways we have, you're looking to how do I start? Next steps for me, right? You're watching this and you're thinking, what's the next step? Good way to place is that if you're already working somewhere, you can start looking for roles within your current organization. Right? Look for roles within your current organization. once you get in, you can look for like get into the IT department at least. Maybe you probably won't find DBA roles that will just take you straight up, but you can start looking to get into IT, maybe doing support or help desk or something, and build from there. Right? I've had people who have come and getting into IT, they were working in the NOC in the operation centers, and now they moved up to they requested to shadow the DBAs, and that was their path. Right, as they started shadowing the DBAs, opportunities opened up, and they went on from there. So there's a viable path there. Like I put there, many of the conditions are outside of your control, but there is a path. Um, Next one, you can gain hands-on experience through personal projects, right? Shadow professionals. If you know people who are in the field, as you take your classes and watch your online courses, you can request to shadow them and see what they're doing. See, nothing gets you experience as much as seeing or doing the thing, right? So do personal projects, set up your own virtual machines at home, set up your own cloud platforms, Amazon, Azure. These guys give a ton of free resources to get you started. You just have to be very careful because they'll charge you if you do use more than you need, right? But you can start exploring all of those options, right? To build proficiency by practice, and then start building a way, well, like build a strong portfolio to showcase your skills. Now, for us in this realm, it might be difficult to create something you can show people, right? Unlike websites, web admins or web managers or application developers, there's pictures they can send. I can say, hey, go visit the site, I built it. Um, so for us, the benefit of a strong portfolio is having a collection of stories that you can tell, right? Having a collection of like I've done this and I understand how it works. And so in an interview, when you're talking to somebody or you have stories to tell, not just saying this is what I've done or not just saying answering technical questions, like a dictionary, but you can explain how you have applied that solution. And that is possible when you have a portfolio that you're talking from. And then networking, nothing beats networking, especially for getting interviews. Um, Network professionals, in the industry, attend industry events, but definitely make sure you are talking to people. So putting it all together, right? Start with becoming proficient. Create a resume that works, right? I didn't talk about that, but that's important. Once you have the skill, people need to find you, optimize your online presence, your LinkedIn, your social media, position yourself as a subject matter expert, right? Let people think of this field when they think of you, right? Let people consider and know you as the database person. That's you be about that. Um, Set up profiles on the job sites, right? Approve job sites, Monster, Indeed, Dice. Get active in these places. Apply consistently to jobs and respond promptly to recruiter calls, emails, LinkedIn messages, all of that. If you're looking to get a job, this is what you need to be doing. Interview often, right? Sharpen that will be a good way to sharpen your interview skills. Even if you don't plan to take the job, go for the interview. Um, and network with a crazy person. Right? Network, network, network. It is super important that you are networking. Um, Networking. You can't downplay the effect. So this is what we've covered so far. We've talked about the responsibilities of a DBA. I've given you an understanding of the field and what it entails. You know what it takes to become, to function as a database engineer. You know the roles and responsibilities. Um, so how do we get started? If I'm looking to get into this field, how do I start? Now it's, one workshop, one webinar, one YouTube live is not going to do the trick, right? It's not going to do the trick. It's not going to open, it's not going to show you everything you need, but I hope I was able to get you excited about this field. Um, and if you're looking to get into tech, then I strongly consider, strongly advise you consider data because again, you want to go where there's a demand, um, and all of that. Hold on. there. It's a work from home problem. So, like I said, every a there's a lot we've talked about, and if you're looking to get into tech, then I highly recommend um, database administration as one of the career paths that you can you. So if you want to see how we can help, once we post this video, there'll be links to we have two different options. You can learn at your own pace, or if you prefer to be in live cohorts, we also have an option for you for we have our SQL DBA Accelerator program, and we have our SQL DBA certificate program, which is our live classes. For our live classes, we actually have one cohort starting by the end of the month. So if that's something you're interested in, I will share the link in the description. um, I'm not going to dwell too much on all of this, but we've basically created a system and a program that's helped over 300 people get into careers in database administration. And so we've tested and we've tested our system. We know it works. You can do this in 8 to 10 weeks. You should be at a place, and we'll keep working with you until you get a job. Our system is built to work with you until you get a job. So if that's something you're interested in, I invite you to book a call with us. Check out the links somewhere in here, and let's continue to have a conversation. I hope I'll talk to you soon. Jump on a call with myself or someone from my team, and we'll be glad to help you get started on this career path. Thanks again for listening to me. I will talk to you soon.